Hello, part 3 of restoring the 1950s Hagstrom Acoustic. I have it again in clamps with a smoothing iron and also some hairdryer assistance, and it's going to stay there for a few hours now. In the meantime, I should just explain that most of the work I've been doing off camera has been fitting the neck heel dovetail into the mortise, that is the dovetail shaped gap in the neck block, and that has taken a long time with lots of sandpaper pulling as described earlier, using strips of sandpaper to shape the sides of the heel. But in the end I had to use chalk. I don't know if you can see, I've used some of my daughter's chalk that she draws hopscotch on the road, hopscotch pitch, I don't know what you call it, on the road with. So I've used blue chalk and fitted the joint that way, and it was quite surprising. You can't guess where the wood needs taking away, you have to measure it, and that's what I did. So now it fits well, it fits pretty snugly. The string run, using the two pieces of string, fall in the right line along the sides of the neck between where the takeoff point is, which takeoff point of course is the bridge pin in each case. So although it's been time consuming, it's ultimately successful. Well, we'll say that once it's clamped and glued. And it would play as it is now, but I want the neck to have a slight bow. In other words, be a bit humpy, just a little bit, so that when the string tension goes on, hopefully it pulls it to flat or slightly underbowed, forward bow. There's a certain amount of guesswork, but also experience in that. So that's what I'm up to right now. And so I'm going to go away now and have lunch and leave this neck clamped and warm. I'm going to get it a bit hotter first. So I'm letting it's had 2 hours under heat and clamping, and I'm allowing it to cool to room temperature. And in the meantime I've been sanding the top of the guitar using the same grade of sandpaper as I did for pulling the joint. And I'm doing this because I want to get off as much as I can of this dark varnish, but leaving the edge because it's going to be a sunburst. I haven't decided yet if it's going to be a red burst into dark brown or maybe black, or whether it's going to be yellowish brown burst into dark brown. Not sure. But after this very coarsest stuff, Bosch C420 and P60, I don't know which it is, it's got too many numbers on it. I'm going to go to the next grade, actually a couple of grades finer. P180 or Bosch C420. What the hell does this? No, they're all Bosch C420, that's the type. Okay, so the grit size I'm going to go to is 180. And then after that, much finer in preparation for French polishing with shellac. But it's going okay. No new cracks have appeared. Needs another probably 30 minutes to cool. It's quite difficult to see what this is. This is the Hagstrom guitar neck here, and I'm taking the clamps off because it's now cool to room temperature. Don't really want it all to come crashing to the floor. And we'll see what the result is by using the straight edge along the top of the frets. If it hasn't moved, it hasn't moved. I'm not prepared to put any more force on it really. So, where's my straight edge? It's there. It hasn't moved. It hasn't moved since the first clamping and heating I did several days ago. So it's just how it is. Okay. We'll fit it now to the guitar body. Okay, so now I've just pushed the neck into its dovetail, and I'm going to use the straight edge to see whether it clears the bridge or not. Yes, it clears the bridge. Okay, so that's the best I can do for this guitar. I'm going to glue and clamp the neck in position. So that's the result of the second clamping, heating and bending. Absolutely nothing. Okay. So of course my film camera battery pack ran flat just as I started to apply glue to the joint. I've used, after a bit of thought, I've used tight bond, the modern way of doing things, because it's easier to handle than hide glue. And this is not you know, a rare and precious guitar like a 40s Martin or something, where you would not want to go against the original spec, which would have been hide glue. And as one famous YouTuber, Jerry Rosa, once said, all the guitars I've had in for repair where the joints have failed, that's been hide glue. Hide glue sets nice and glassy and is very easy to kind of remelt when you want to take something apart again. Well, my plan here is this won't need a reset for another 30 years or something, and I'm probably not going to be around to even see that. So tight bond it is. You don't clamp because the joint itself is sort of self-clamping, but I've put a bit of weight on to make sure the joint is seated. I've put an old wood plane. The guitar neck is not touching that cradle. It's just there in case I needed it to push the neck one way or another. But I lined it up with the strings in the right kind of run and then put that weight on. I'm doing this before I've refinished the guitar, because refinishing it could take quite a long time and I want to hear how it plays. So once this joint has set, I'll leave it to set overnight. So basically tomorrow morning I can put strings on this guitar and hear what it sounds like played. Yeah. So the only thing that I missed filming was applying tight bond with a paintbrush to the relevant surfaces of the dovetail, which is not the part that touches the cheeks of the guitar. It's the sides of the dovetail tenon and the front of the dovetail tenon, and that's all. Feeling happy about this. Let's see what it's like in the morning. So it's the morning after, mid-morning actually. So it's had I don't know, 14-15 hours to harden the neck joint, and it looks great. I'm really happy with the run of the strings. That's very critical. The angle of the neck most certainly clears the bridge. It even clears the little bridge saddle, which is made from a long piece of fret wire. I may saw that slot a bit wider and put in a bone nut. I've got lots of second-hand nuts and bits and things. Did I say nut? I'm so sorry. Bridge saddle. The nut is still a bit of a mess, but it'll do for now. But I need to curb my impatience and not string this up just yet. The most important thing is there's a pronounced wedge-shaped gap underneath the fingerboard extension now. Can we see it? And that's about, oh yeah, it's a couple of millimeters at the widest. So it's going to need something. I thought I may be able to use the veneer. I've got some white ash veneer, which I got hold of when I was making a fretless bass out of a fretted one. But that's not going to be thick enough, so I'm going to have to look for a piece of wood and taper it into a sort of very thin wedge to glue under there. Because until there's some contact between the fingerboard and the guitar top or soundboard, there's a vulnerability. It's weak here. So that's one thing. Slightly less important is I need to reinsert the 13th fret. And the other thing I need to do is give this place a damn good tidying up. Watch this space. So, here's my idea. This wooden cutlery, I don't know where it's from, it's pretty damn strong. I'm not sure what wood it is. Anyway, I was thinking I might put 2 wedges under here. So this one will have to be thinned down at one end, and so will this. But that might do the job. Thinking about that. So I'm going to go with this wooden cutlery to make the wedge, 3 wedges it's going to be, underneath the fingerboard extension. So what I'm going to do is shave them down using this really coarse sandpaper, because it won't take very long that way. It turns out to be surprisingly easy to shape these things into a long thin wedge. Maybe not so easy to see it on the camera, but yeah, I'm making them all this length, and so I push them all in equally far, and I'm just shaping the end now to match the curved end of the fingerboard extension. Press record. So here we are, the 3 shims, shaped carefully using coarse sandpaper and lots of trial and error. They can't be tight because I want this to be, if anything, to have a slight fall away so that the strings are not fouled by these higher frets. So this one just needs a little bit more shaving off, and that will be here in the middle. Final try. It's hard to get them out once they're under. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I'm going to basically cover them in tight bond and push them under. And I will need to clamp this. So let's sort out the clamping next. Now there's a brace running about here, which I can't risk damaging with my clamps. So I'm just going to insert a block of wood, which is slightly proud of that, and I can put the clamps onto that piece of wood. I'm just going to use these 2 small G-clamps. Hang on, I'm covering up the movie. I'm just going to use 2 small G-clamps. You'll see it once it's done. So there they are, 1, 2, 3 shims. About to put glue on now. So that's both clamps in place, and there's a certain amount of squeeze out of glue happening. I'll put a little bit more pressure on. I don't want to put a lot of pressure on. I've got to get rid of this squeeze out before it dries. I mean, this is all cosmetic, but cosmetics matters with guitars. Tiny bit of squeeze out all round, and that's good. Almost forgot to film this as well. I'm just taking out the clamps. The block is out and the clamps are coming out. Yeah, it looks nice. You can just about see the 3 shims, the end of them. But it's not noticeable on the sides. And we still have... Yeah, the neck still looks good, and there's a slight fall away from the 12th fret, which is what I wanted. So, now I'll just push the 13th fret back in. No, it's going back. There we go. It's back just with thumb pressure. Really, it does need refretting, this guitar, but you have to know when to stop. On a £20 guitar, you do have to know when to stop putting in labour. So what next? What next is strings. So I'm going to go with actually nylon strings. They are of low tension compared to steel strings. And I don't have a nylon string guitar of my own, so I'm going to see if this will function as a nylon stringed instrument. So I've strung it up with nylon strings, and immediately discovered that, of course, this bridge saddle is too low. It's just a piece of fret wire. So I've reset the neck, it actually now needs a proper bridge. So I said I will play it, so I'll make a few sounds on it. Hair and makeup. hair and makeup, come on. So I think I'm going to call that the end of part 3. And there will be a part 4, and at the end of part 4 I'll play the guitar. Okay, thanks for watching.